Bachelor Winter Games premiered on Tuesday with hookups, a biathlon and an elimination. Get the full recap below. This latest addition to the Bachelor Nation franchise was announced last spring. Though filming took place in December, the broadcast is timed to the Olympic Games in Pyeongchang. Like with the ongoing Winter Olympics, the new spin-off brings together past Bachelor franchise contestants from not just in the US but from around the world to compete in winter sporting activities. But like with Bachelor Pad and Bachelor in Paradise, romance is high on the agenda, too. This marks the first time a Bachelor series in America involves participants who were previously on the international shows. The U.S. delegation of Bachelor and Bachelorette faces includes Ben Higgins, who is a former Bachelor lead, Eric Bigger Rachel Lindsay's season, Claire Crawley Juan Pablo's season, Michael Garofalo Desiree Hartsock's season, Josiah Graham Rachel Lindsay's season, Lauren Griffin Ari Luyendik's season, Ashley Yaconetti Chris Uhl's season, Bibiana Julian Ari Luyendik's season, Jamie Koken Rachel Lindsay's season, Leslie Murphy, Sean Lowe's season, Luke Peljo Joe Fletcher's season and Dean Unglert Rachel Lindsay's season. The other contestants hail from series in the UK, Canada, Sweden, Australia, Finland, Japan, New Zealand, Germany, Switzerland and China. There are more than 20 competitors in all. The debut episode, which is the first of 4, began with pre-taped introductions from some of the US players, and then an opening ceremony of sorts as the contestants from all of the different countries arrived and paraded through the streets of Manchester, Vermont. Viewers were introduced to Yuki of Japan, who didn't know much English, Benoit and Kevin of Canada, Zoe of China, Laura of the UK, Tiffany and Courtney of Australia, Rebecca and Stassi of Sweden, Jenny of Finland, Jordan, Lily and Ally of New Zealand, and Christian of Germany and Switzerland. To officially kick off the games, Trista and Ryan Sutter of The Bachelorette presented a lit lantern. Everyone excitedly settled into a large villa and toasted to the games. Host Chris Harrison explained to the group that the men and women would compete in separate same sporting events. Then the one man and one woman who win each challenge would get to ask another contestant on a date. That first night was all about bonding. Leslie was attracted to Dean, Bibiana and Ashley were both drawn toward Kevin, and Josiah actually made out with Ally. The next day, the biathlon served as the first official event. It combined cross-country skiing with marksmanship, as everyone had to ski and shoot at targets. There were 2 qualifying heats for both S with 3 preliminary winners from each. They then had to compete in the male and female finals. The practice runs were fairly amusing, but Ally fell on her butt really hard and tearfully decided to sit out. Josiah hoped to win so he could take her on a date, but he quickly tumbled during the first heat. The competition ultimately came down to Jenny, Stassi, Lily, Rebecca, Leslie and Bibiana, with Rebecca winning for the women and Benoit, Luke, Kevin, Dean and Christian, with Kevin winning for the men. The victories earned Rebecca and Kevin date cards, with the right to ask out whomever they wanted. Both Ashley and Bibiana hoped Kevin would pick them, and he found it super stressful to have to decide between them. Unsurprisingly, when he chose Bibi, Ashley was left in tears. "Why don't I ever get picked?" she whined. Meanwhile, Rebecca asked out Luke for her date, which culminated in a fireworks display. They kissed. Of course, as did Kevin and Bibiana. Back at the house, Leslie opened up to Dean about her preventative double mastectomy, and they joked about her having a new chest. They later made out, as did Ally and Josiah again and Lily and Courtney. Claire was impressed by Benoit's cooking and they shared a few casual smooches before a full-on makeout, which made Christian feel lonely as he was attracted to Claire, too. Ahead of the first rose ceremony the next day, everyone seemed to think the guys would be handing out roses to the women of their choice. But Harrison shocked everyone by revealing it wouldn't be a matter of picking who you wanted to stay. Instead, he said 3 women and 2 men would be going home as determined by a vote-off. Each person had to write down the name of one person of the opposite gender they thought should be eliminated. Those with the most votes would be axed. Prior to the voting, there was a cocktail party with much chatter over who would and should be given the boot. There were discussions about voting off those who weren't getting to know others and/or those who didn't seem ready for love. Laura told Ally that she planned to vote off her beau Josiah because he rebuffed her and seemed childish. Claire, too, wanted to send him home, believing he wasn't there for love. Ally told Josiah about the women's doubts, prompting him to go around assuring everyone how much he wanted to stay and be with Ally. Ben felt vulnerable since he had yet to find one person with whom he truly connected. Bibiana urged Ashley, who was freaking out, to talk to people. She worried her fixation on Kevin would make her unpopular with the other men. Indeed, Benoit cast his vote for her, after which he told Claire that she was his number 1 going forward. But after that, Claire asked Christian about a rumor that he planned to write her name down, and he admitted she's actually his favorite woman there. And when he called her the most beautiful in the house, she in turn called him the most handsome. He asked about her hooking up with Benoit and being the second option, and she assured him she wasn't only interested in Benoit. That said, he didn't feel comfortable kissing her since Benoit already did. After all the ballots were cast, Harrison called those who were safe and offered them roses. Those who remained roseless were the ones who had the most votes for their ouster. In the end, Zoe, Laura, Lauren, Eric and Jamie weren't called and they were left without roses. Therefore, they were now eliminated. The competition will continue on Thursday.